And it looks like we're live. Okay, let's check everything on our screens for the morning. Good morning, everybody, by the way. Just getting the last little bits of my setup done before we start. I'm a minute early. What are you going to do? So, by the way, I moved the camera around just a little bit, so let me know if that looks a little better on screen, and hopefully we're not blocking anything. I have to keep remembering to turn the video share off sometimes when we're doing these, so sorry about that. But good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for stopping in. My name is Rich Charpentier, and I'm the channel host, and this is our weekly Monday live stream at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So pretty soon, when the clocks change, it's going to be 8 a.m. Mountain time, because we here in Arizona, we don't change our clocks. So I'm just checking over on the right-hand side, so if you see me looking over off camera, I'm just looking to make sure if anyone is putting something up in the live chat. And right now, we've got nobody there. So it's 8 o'clock, and before we dive into today's topics, today I'm going to be talking about choosing a drone for work and why that might be a little more complicated than you think. We're also going to do a little talk about Skydio. But before we dive into all that, I wanted to start right here on SkyVector and tell you a little story. So last Thursday, I was driving into town. I had an appointment. I was driving down Route 89 in Prescott, Arizona, so that goes right into downtown Prescott. And as I was approaching downtown, I noticed a giant smoke plume in the distance south of Prescott. But it looked like it was pretty darn close. Looking over the mountain ridges, it jumped out to me that, whoa, this thing's kind of close. I shot a text to Jody. She was out and about as well, and I got a text back real quick. She hadn't even looked toward town, but she did see the smoke plume. As it turns out, a fire had started last Thursday. It's still being managed and dealt with. Yesterday was Sunday, and the fire started on Thursday. Yesterday, we were seeing the slurry bombers out, one plane after another plane. And same thing could be said for previous days. So we've seen a lot of flights out of here for fighting the fire, and of course, the Tfrs that went up. So we actually... we were listening on the radio, so I have a ham radio that also does the air traffic control channels and other channels, and we were listening to the Yavapai Regional Emergency Response, and at one point on one of the bands we did hear someone saying that they were going to need to put in for a TFR, and that TFR is right where I'm pointing at right now, so it is still ongoing, and it's a flight hazard. It's listed here from 1019 through 1020, so tomorrow, surface to 12,000, so there shouldn't be any drones flying around there. And also we have additional TFRs because we have a campaign trail visit here, so somebody's going to be flying into the Prescott Airport today for one of these rallies. So we've also got the TFRs for VIP you can see here, 1019 through 1019, 2200. It's going to be live in 3 hours, it says. But the bigger thing that jumped out at me when we first saw that smoke plume was that nobody's flying in that area. So normally you can do Lance requests out here. Don't even think about going over there to fly. I also did a quick look up this morning just to see. So it's called the horse fire. So wildfire, and 2 minutes ago was a little while ago when I updated this. And so 8950 acres yesterday, I think it was at 8,000 on the nose. So it's still expanded a little bit. Fortunately, we haven't been having major winds here, so hopefully they're going to be able to contain that one. But I'll tell you, the skies here in Prescott for the last weeks, over a month now, between the California fires and then our own fire here, it's been tough getting some flights in lately, but you know, it's also understandable that you want to do the right things and you want to make sure that you're flying in great places. So, you know, I regularly use Kitty Hawk for submitting my Lance requests, and even on Kitty Hawk, this was showing up. I saw it on AirMap as well. Whatever tools you use to check before you go out and fly, you should always check for TFRs in the area. Just to be sure, because maybe there's a fire further to the south of you, but it could be moving in your direction, so they block out a bigger area. Good morning, Corey. How are you doing? Let me see. Are your Litchi flights on the hub? Just downloaded it yesterday. Yeah, I got a couple of Litchi flights that I have made public. Let me double check, Corey, and I can drop you an email later, but I know that I've got some of them that are shared and some of them that are not. but we'll check that out. And congrats on grabbing up Litchi there. So it's one of my favorite apps. I really do like using it for waypoint missions. You know, I've got 3 different apps that I use for waypoint missions, Drone, Harmony, Ground Station Pro, and Litchi. And they all do a pretty good job. I still like the smoothness of some of the Litchi video flights. So, all right. So yeah, I just want to tell you guys that story that we have some TFRs in effect. The Phoenix area absolutely has some TFRs in effect, once again, for VIP flights. So it's going to be interesting for the folks at the tower here today between the fires and everything. I don't know if they'll continue the fire support today or, you know, how they work that. That's something I'm not clear on. But like I said, we don't have really strong winds going on, so hopefully it's contained in its area. And once that VIP TFR finishes out, if they need to get back to it, they most likely will. So, all right. So yes, living in the Southwest, forest fires are a reality here. Crazy windstorms are a reality. Dust storms are a reality. It's very different from when I used to live back in New England. Let's go ahead and close Firefox. And now I want to get, and Corey, here you go. I've got the Litchi screen right up here. You got good timing, man. So today I wanted to talk about choosing a drone for work because I've been getting a lot of questions lately. Not just on recent videos here on YouTube, but on older videos. People are hunting around for information. One of the big questions I've been getting a lot lately all over my channel is, hey, I got the new Mavic Air 2 and it doesn't work with X, and X being a third-party application. So I've been hearing a lot from drone pilots who are upgrading their drones, and I get it. I want the newest technology too. But when it comes to doing my business, when it comes to building my business and providing my services for clients, I'm not so keen on the newest, latest, and greatest. I'm not a technophobe here. I love new technology. And if somebody said, hey, Rich, here's a Mavic Air 2 for a review, I'd take it and I'd do a review. Absolutely. Go ahead and send me a Mavic Air 2 if you want. But the problem is with some of these new releases or with some firmware updates or with some app updates, these third-party developers like Litchi and like Map Pilot and Ground Station Pro and all these different folks who provide these applications for us, oftentimes they've got to rework their application after a major upgrade or after the release of a new product like the Mavic Air 2. And we'll talk a little more about the fact that DJI is confusing the snot out of me sometimes. But so number one, I wanted to take a look. So I've been getting the question, hey, does Litchi work with the Mavic Air 2? Does Map Pilot? Does Ground Station Pro? Does Drone Harmony? Once again, these developers, these third-party app developers who are creating tools for us to use in the field and tools that we might be very used to and accustomed to using, sometimes they need to play catch-up with the manufacturers when they do these updates. Now, when I go look at Litchi, the Litchi's main page over here on the right-hand side, we also have, also available on Amazon for DJI monitors, Smart Controller, Crystal Sky, Phantom 4 screens. Litchi is also compatible with the Spark, the Mavic, Phantom, and Inspire series. Okay, how about the Mavic Air? I'm not reading that here. So I went over to Litchi's help page, last updated the 29th of November, 2019. That's been a little while, hasn't it? Okay, what they have listed here is that Litchi is compatible with the Mavic 2, Zoom and Pro, the Mavic Air, Air and Pro, Phantom 4, Phantom 3, they've got the list here, Inspire 1, Inspire 2, Spark. I don't see the Mavic Air 2. That doesn't mean that they're not working on it, or maybe it's released now and I just haven't checked everywhere that I could. But I just went to one more thing, just another article from another drone website. Litchi will likely be available for the Mavic Mini and Mavic Air 2 later this summer. I hadn't seen a follow-up on that. So I've had questions about Litchi and I've had questions about other applications as well. So let's take a look further on down. You can do your research as well. And if I'm wrong on Litchi, go ahead and pop a note in the comments below to let me know and to let the other subscribers know. And I'll pin the comment up at the top so people know, yeah, I can use that. But then I went over to my friends over at Maps Made Easy, and I use Map Pilot as well. And they've got their supported hardware list here. And this list is updated September 21st, 2020, so much more recent, right? So we've got the Mavic Pro, the Air, the Mavic 2 Pro, Phantom 4. So it looks like a lot of the Phantom 4 series, Phantom 3. What I'm not seeing here is the Mavic Air 2 yet. Okay, so it seems to me that when it comes to Maps Made Easy's Map Pilot, once again, they're not there yet, and kind of painful. Now, the next one I want to move on to is Ground Station Pro, because I feature that a lot on this channel as well. And on Ground Station Pro, they've got it compatible with the Mavic 2 Enterprise, Mavic 2 Pro, Mavic 2 Zoom, Mavic Pro. We're going through here. I'm not going to read all these off to you. Compatible with a lot, but the Mavic Air 2 is not showing up here. Now, this is a weird one to me because Ground Station Pro is a DJI product. Huh. So the additional app being Ground Station Pro isn't updated yet for one of DJI's flight applications. How weird. Okay, I'm not picking on them, and I'm going to get back to that in a few minutes because I've talked about this maybe a year ago, but I want to come back around on DJI's growth and DJI's updates for software and hardware, because it gets a little confusing to me, at least. Just taking a look back over. Okay, Corey's still on over there. We've got several more people on channel. Good morning, all. Thanks for stopping in. If you've got any questions or comments, you can use the chat window here, or at the end of this, you can also leave comments down below. Either way, however you like to work it. All right, next one that I'm popping over to is support at Pix4D.com, because we've got the Pix4D Capture application. I've used that one before, and while it's not one of my favorites, it is a tool in many people's toolbox that they do use for their businesses. And so here from Pix4D right now, I don't have a date on this one, but right here, the Mavic Air 2 not compatible right now. This is on Pix4D's website. Also, the Mavic Mini not compatible right now. Okay, so in answering the questions that have been popping up all over my channel, I understand your frustration, everybody. I know that you got, you just purchased one of the newest drones out there, the Mavic Air 2. You'd like to get working with it. And sometimes these third-party apps need some catch-up time. They didn't get the software developers kit until right at the launch of the new product sometimes. Or they're still waiting, or their development team is working on it. And redeveloping a program is not, it's not like watching a movie where, hey, the hacker gets in, hits the keys really fast, and everything's done. That's not the reality of software development. The reality of software development is time-consuming processes, bug tests, beta testing, working through everything, and then finally releasing that finished product. The other thing I hear from people a lot is, well, why isn't it on an Android, or why isn't it on iOS? I've done a lot of instructionals for Drone Harmony over the past year, and people ask me, well, why are they Android only? Why don't they do iOS? That's going to mean another development team. That's going to mean more paychecks to write. That's going to mean more time invested on multiple platforms. And sometimes some of these third-party app developers, they've only got so big of a budget. And the second thing is, if they're selling these products pretty cheap, $29 for this thing that you get to keep for life, how much revenue are they getting in? So in order to support the development process on multiple platforms, most likely they'd have to raise the prices. And then comes the question, you and me, the drone operators using these, are we willing to pay more for these applications on this platform or that platform? If we don't have enough of a demand, if we're not standing there with our dollars in our hands, then they can only develop for so many platforms. Just the reality. All right, and then compatibility with the Mavic Air 2. I went over to Drone Deploy's forums as well. And any updates on the Mavic Air 2 for Drone Deploy's Capture app, and that was on August 25th of this year. So as you can see, there is a theme marching along here. All of these developers are not up to speed with the latest drone that's come out. And so how does that affect your business? I'm also popping over to Drone Harmony here so that we can see what's Drone Harmony supporting on their Android application. Is the Mavic Air 2 in here yet? The Mavic Air 2 is not. Also, we've got the Mavic Mini, and that's got an asterisk next to it as well. So across the board, the answer to the question that everyone's asking about their Mavic Air 2 and being able to use their favorite flight application is it might not be ready for you yet. So you're going to have to keep up with the support forums of those application developers that you really like. So now let's dial back. We've seen all the people who are saying we're not ready for it yet. What does that mean to our drone business? Well, if you've made the decision to get the latest and greatest drone from DJI or Autel or Skydio, whoever it is, once again, I'm not DJI biased. They just have the most drones out there on the market. You know, they've dominated the drone marketplace. That's all there is to it. And I want something that I have third-party apps for, that I have other development going on for. Some of the newer drones don't have any third-party app support at all. And when I sit down and look at the tasks that I need to accomplish on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis with my drone flights, I need a proven drone that already has a track record of working with these types of applications. And if they don't have that track record, when I get a phone call from a potential client who says, I'm building out a new ranch, Rich, and I need, monthly, weekly, bi-weekly stuff. I want to keep an eye on the contractors. I want to make sure that work's getting done. And I say to them, oh, well, I got the latest drone recently, and I don't have the applications that I used to use for that latest drone, so I can't come out and help you right now. That's going to be a great way to drive business away fast. I'm waiting on a software update. Can we talk again in a month? So I've been sticking with my original Mavic Pro and the Mavic 2 Pro. The other ones that I've noticed a theme here, when we're looking at like the Phantom 4 series, you're definitely covered with a lot of these apps. Even when they get into some of the RTK ones, not this particular one, but some of the other ones do support some of the RTK drones out there now. So the Phantom 4, not on this one here. So that's for Map Pilot. We've got the Phantom 4 does do it, the Phantom 4 Pro, a couple others, and then there are some that are also covering different applications. Sorry about that, blinked out there for a second. But yeah, so if you're going after the latest and greatest new drone, be it a DJI, an Autel, Skydio, or somebody else, the access to these applications might be limited or null at the moment, sorry to say. So as all of the newer drones are coming out, I'm still sticking to what I know works because I do already have a client base that's accustomed to the types of deliverables that I provide them. And if I couldn't do time-lapse video flights for the clients, that takes away a big selling point that I'm offering. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, Rich, you could run out and buy that Mavic Air 2 right now and get flying with it and get practicing with it. Absolutely, and that'd be a lot of fun, and I like the sounds of the extended battery life and everything, but I don't have a lot of disposable income to waste. I'm not going to buy every new camera and every new drone that comes out for my business. I need longevity in mind with these particular products. And also, DJI is confusing me now with its growth path, so I want to shift gears here. Not too much, but I actually want to break out my iPhone because they seem to have several different development tracks that are getting interested in my mind. So I'm just pulling this up. Somebody texted me something weird from the live stream. Interesting. Thanks for the pronunciation correction, by the way. And let's go ahead and we're going to start screen mirroring really quick. So Richard Zymek. So just waiting a moment. Sorry about that. The iPhone is syncing, and there we go. It's giving me the little code for it. So one of the things that's been confusing to me with DJI themselves and their applications is it seems that they're evolving their applications as they're doing, as they're introducing new products. So here we are. There's the App Store right there. And this is what I wanted to go into. We're going to do a really quick search. If the search will come up for me. Let's see here, DJI. And I'm just going to hit search really quick. Okay, so here we go. We've got the DJI Go4 app right here. And what I'm going to do is we're going to tap into that one really fast to demonstrate the point here. So, information on the DJI Go4 app, Capture the World from a DJI Go4 app. These include, so the DJI products included with the Go4 app, the Mavic series, the Phantom 4 series, and Inspire 2. Okay, really cool. So we've got the Mavics, Phantoms, Inspires. Now, what's not on here is the Mavic Air 2. Just want to point that out. So it's got the name Mavic in it, but it says Mavic series here. So it says Mavic series right here where I'm mousing over. But the Mavic Air 2 is actually not for the Go4 app. The Mavic Air is associated with the new DJI Fly App, which recently came out. So on the DJI Fly App, we've got right here. So the Fly App was designed to help pilots fly the Mavic Air 2 and the Mavic Mini aircraft. So, okay, we've got the Go4 for a couple of their products. We've got Fly for a few more of their products. And then we also have DJI Go, and this is an older one. It's been around for quite a while. And let's see here. Let's scroll on down. And on this one, supported equipment, the Inspire, the Phantom, and the Matrice series flying platforms. So we have 3 different flight applications from DJI for different drones. Does that sound a little confusing to you? It's a little confusing to me, and I'm not picking on them here. But when you start thinking about the development path, so building the new drones and also designing the applications for flying these drones, they have 3 development paths here. And I haven't seen an update to the DJI Go app in a while. I got one for the Go4 recently, but it seems as they're marching on. They're developing this new software, and as we're getting the newer and newer drones, we're looking at newer flight apps as well. Now the question becomes, with these flight apps, what are our third-party app developers doing? So is Litchi keeping up with the latest new model from DJI? Is Map Pilot, is Ground Station Pro? And once again, Ground Station Pro is a DJI product that doesn't support all DJI drones. And then we also have, okay, let's go ahead and close out of this now. Let me see here. We'll just get rid of that stop mirroring. So one other item that was launched by DJI, I think it was last year. Let me just pick a different one here. DJI Terra. So another flight application that was laptop based, which was really interesting to me. So my first reaction was, I might be very interested in this one. I'm just going to go ahead and do a search really quick here. Phantom. All right, the reason why I did this search is because DJI's Terra is not compatible with all the DJI flying platforms. So the Phantom 4 RTK, so getting that more precise information if you're doing mapping and modeling. Phantom 4 Pro, Phantom 4 Pro Plus, the Phantom 4 Original, and the Phantom 4 Advanced. I think we get the idea. This is for Phantom 4s. So we've got one more application from DJI for a very specific branch of their software development. And once again, not supporting everything. So coming back to my own business and coming back to your business, what does this all mean to you? If you have a platform that you enjoy flying right now that has the applications you need for getting your jobs done, it might be in your best interest to hold off on being the first in the marketplace when the new drones come out. When the Mavic 2 Pro came out, the apps that I was using quickly did get ready for the Mavic 2, so that was great. I didn't have a big wait time, and in the meantime, I was still using my regular Mavic Pro for doing some of my flights as the software developers were catching up. But if DJI can't even keep a consistent growth path, and instead they continue developing more and more flight apps for their newest drones, it's likely that their interest in helping the third-party developers for the previous stuff, that interest is going to go out the window, because if we're chasing the newest drones, those poor developers need to scrap what they're working on, just get on the latest drone, just get on the latest, and you get the idea. So when you're thinking about your business and the business case for buying new equipment, you might want to just take a step back, watch all these other folks online as they're testing out the newest drones, showing you the newest features, and also letting you know what applications are compatible and what applications aren't compatible. As we continue growing our own drone businesses and we start offering additional services, we might end up looking for even more third-party applications to get the jobs done that we want to. So my advice in the short term, stay away from buying the latest and greatest that just got launched today. See how other people are doing with it. Continue doing your business as you need to with the equipment that's already proven really functional for you. In the back of my mind lately, I've been thinking to myself, maybe I should pick up one additional Mavic 2 Pro to have in-house. You know, mine's already a couple years old. We've already had some battery problems with it. And maybe I should just stick with the Mavic 2 Pro. Because one other thing, beyond worrying about these applications and things, the Mavic 2 Pro's batteries aren't the same as the Mavic Pro's batteries. The Mavic Air 2's batteries aren't the same as the Mavic 2. Every time they launch a new drone for us, it means a complete overhaul for what we're carrying onto the job site. We've got to buy a bunch of new batteries, you know, maybe a different case for carrying these, you know, some of these custom cases that fit this but don't fit that. Suddenly that new drone expenditure becomes an expenditure of over $1,000 in additional batteries and some new carrying cases and maybe some new third-party applications. And suddenly we're respending and you know, you can only do so much capital reinvestment every year. So like I said, my suggestion to you, don't be the first in the marketplace. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's going to save you money in not only the short term, but also the long term. That's not to discourage grabbing some of the new drones. If you have the disposable income to get a drone for fun and you're not worried about using it in your workplace, then hey, some of the features on the new drones sound fantastic. Now, before we move on to the second part where we're just going to talk about Skydio for a little bit, I just wanted to pop on over to AZ-Drone. So here is my little... Here's my little sponsorship message, and this video is sponsored by Arizona Drone and Arizona Drone's new Teachable platform. So I'm shifting gears, moving some of my classes over to Teachable, still leaving some things up over on Udemy right now, but all of our new courses coming out from AZ Drone are going to be found on the Teachable platform. So we've migrated a lot of things on over, so some of the featured courses here now. I've also been doing bundles. This is one of the reasons why I'm switching from Udemy to Teachable, is the fact that I can bundle classes. So number one on here, if you're interested in the drone construction progression series that I've done, this one is actually a bundle that includes our Litchi flight videos, our map pilot flight videos, Ground Station Pro, and finally a full course on doing a drone construction progression project from start to finish. So from an open land site to a final constructed apartment complex, luxury apartment complex. And so we put this whole bundle together with 4 different video series. And so that one is $50. So pretty good for doing 4 videos. Then I just launched this weekend the modeling course bundle. And so that includes Metashape, an introduction to 3D modeling, and a couple other things as well. So there we go. Pro Farming Advisors, thanks for the very valuable information. You're welcome, Pro Farming Advisor. And are you a drone pilot too? Do you use that in your business? I'd love to know. I always like hearing from new people on here. All right. After the bundles, we've got all of our independent single class videos in here that you can take a look at. And for folks who visit this channel and also my Patreon channel, there are discount coupons on all of the individual classes. It's really easy. It's 40 for 40 and then the word percent in all caps. So 40%, and it's 40% off any of these videos. But so one of the big things that I was really encouraged by is doing the bundles. We're going to be doing more of those bundles. And right now I am working on a new series. After you've passed your part 107, what's next? How do you start building that business? And that series is going to be appearing only here on the new Teachable platform. All right, so there is my pitch, and I'm done with that. It's nice to be your own sponsor sometimes, right? All right, let's close this one up. And let's see here. Oh, I messed myself up with closing that one up. All right, let's go ahead and look for the Skydio and drone deploy integration. So I'm sure, months ago I got really excited about some of the new videos from Skydio and about their mapping and modeling possibilities with it, especially with the obstacle avoidance and awareness. And it sounds like drone deploy and Skydio are getting together. A lot of channels are covering this. I don't recover news here that other people have already covered, but I just wanted to bring this one up because I want you to not worry about autonomous flight completely taking out drone pilots, okay? Let's see, Skydio 2 mapping. Let's find that. So I've been asked the question. I actually got a recent question from someone who's concerned about remote ID and who's also concerned about the autonomous flights. And I use autonomous flight applications all the time to accomplish my goals for my customers. That doesn't replace me. It doesn't replace me walking the job sites. It doesn't replace me planning out my flight areas. Even if we have the smartest drone around with great obstacle avoidance and stuff, a UAV operator has to be there on site. You've got to be there to stop that flight because maybe when you first plotted out that area, you didn't realize that a clock tower was going into the back of the build site, nor did you see it on the blueprints that were first presented to you. But boom, there it is. That thing showed up. And if I just reused some of my old flight paths and I didn't pay attention to my drone and I was looking anywhere but at the drone would have hit that clock tower because it was in one of my pre-programmed flight paths. So while the new 3D scan from Skydio, here we go. I'm just going to pull this thing up here and I'm going to make sure that my audio is off. This was really interesting to me when this video first came out. It's still very interesting to me with the talk of Skydio and drone deploy working together. But as we see this video, so it's going all around the structure that we wanted to capture. And one of the things that I noted is it comes really close to some of these, so it's going to be getting some high detail for sure. But if you remember what I've said in previous videos for mapping and modeling, the closer you get to your subject, the more photos you're going to need to get. So when we get in really close, we're shooting a very small area here. So I'm looking at the screen here and it's showing this bridge and it's flying really close around the girders. With that in mind, this is going to be a very long flight. If we're trying to document the whole bridge and we're getting this close in for super duper detail, which is awesome, you better have a basket full of batteries with you. So the further away we fly, while we don't have as much detail, while it's not as high resolution, the further away we fly, the fewer number of photos we need to take, the fewer number of batteries. So it's all about, detail versus expedience and what your clients want. But in thinking about how Skydio performs, that it can come in and come out, right now as it stands, it looks like it's going to be a pretty big battery burner. And it's going to be going in for some really high-end detail, which I find, really compelling. But how many hours do you have on the job site to get things done? Are you willing to stay 3 or 4 hours for this super detailed model? And is the super detailed model necessary? In some instances, for doing some types of inspections, absolutely. This is probably going to be great. But do not fear. One person actually got in touch and said, I'm starting up this business, but are the autonomous flights going to damage my business? Is remote ID going to damage my business? We've got all these external factors going on outside of our control when it comes to FAA regulation. That's what the FAA determines for the regulations, of course, with some input from the industry and some kind of sketchy input from the industry. I'll leave it at that. But, yes, there are concerns. So to the folks who've been getting in touch and asking about this, you're right to be concerned. But does that mean that you should shut down right now and stop trying to develop that business? I don't think so at all. All small businesses and medium businesses and large businesses, we all face external threats and external issues, whether, it's an insurance policy covering broken equipment while you're in the field, workman's comp issues, all those types of things. We've got a stack of things that we know are going to be our problem things in the business that we need to work on. I don't think anticipating throwing drone operators out with the bathwater is something that we need to worry about too much. Yes, we need to keep an eye on it as drone enthusiasts and drone operators and drone business owners. But I would not say let this stop you from developing this kind of business if you want to. Okay. So, and once again, they're at the start of this. So, what is the final remote ID going to look like? None of us really know. We're talking a lot about remote ID, and that it's supposed to be out by the end of this year, according to some claims. Until we see it, I don't know how much we fear it. I am in favor of remote ID to let the FAA know where I'm flying, to let local authorities know where I'm flying. That proposal that we saw earlier this year, where anybody could gain access to our flight information, from their own computer. I'm not in favor of general public access to my flights. Let me take a look over. I'm interested in 3D mapping, and what's the best DJI drone for the job? Well, Pro Farming Advisor, I would have to say the best one out there is in the Phantom 4 series. So because of that mechanical shutter, so that they don't have that linear shutter issue, if you could have one and only one great drone, it's in the Phantom 4 Pro series. So that's where I would be looking. And now you're going to say, well, Rich, you've got Mavics right now. For over a decade, I lived full-time in an Airstream, so a 25-foot long by 8-foot wide trailer that I traveled in for work. And I didn't have a lot of room inside that Airstream. So when I started purchasing my drones, there was the big need for small drones. So that's why I went with the Mavic series. Now that I'm not full-time in an Airstream anymore, the Phantom 4 Pro is very much on my mind. But for all the jobs that I've been doing so far, my Mavic and my Mavic 2 Pro have been covering the needs. When I get to a point in 3D modeling where I have a client who says, I've got an architect that wants to take all the data you collect, when I hear something like that for a client, yeah, I'm going to grab a Phantom 4 Pro at that moment. But in the meantime, I don't need to spend the money at the moment for the jobs that I'm doing. So there we go. All right. Now, I do have to wrap this one up, and, it's almost been 40 minutes here. We have another client job downtown today. And before I let myself get distracted, what I was saying before with the autonomous flights and everything, one thing that you should be doing to protect yourself and your business is diversifying a little bit. Since we're doing a lot of camera work for our clients, drone camera work, whether it's stills or videos, work on your terrestrial-based photography as well. Work on your video, on the ground video as well, because you're probably offering more services than just the drone services. So another way to alleviate your worries about, is autonomous flight going to overtake us? Is the FAA going to drive us out of business? You should be developing some additional skills that round out your business. That way, if you do take a hit because of new FAA rules that come out, you still have other parts of your business that can continue your revenue stream. All right, so with that in mind, I'm getting ready to run downtown. We're going to be doing a gallery interior today. We're doing some 360 panos, and then we're going to be showing off this particular gallery. They wanted to do a 360 virtual tour after we showed them some of the other work that we've been doing downtown Prescott. And so with that in mind, I got to be there at 10 o'clock, so I got to get everything packed up, good to go, and then we'll be heading down there. There will probably be a video coming out this week of us assembling that 360 tour, and we'll be using the Theta Z1 again. So if you're interested in the Theta Z1 as well, stay tuned this week, keep your eyes open. And don't forget to check over at az-drone.teachable.com to check out the new online class setup. Also, I'd love your feedback just on the pages. You don't have to purchase anything, but take a look around, see if it works for you, see if the site makes sense, and leave me your feedback. If you find anything weird on it, let me know that too, so I can correct it and give students the best type of interface possible when they come and visit it. All right, so I'm getting ready to head out. I hope that you all have an awesome start to the week. Pro Farming Advisor, welcome to the channel, and Corey, is always good to see you. I know that there are other people in the background just listening on in, and I know that a lot of people watch this afterward because, hey, 8 a.m. Pacific time's kind of a strange time, but we've got folks all over the globe who pop by this channel every week, so I really do appreciate all of you spending time here, and I appreciate your interest in everything we've been presenting. We'll see you again soon, Pro Farming Advisor, and we do a lot of talk about 2D and 3D modeling. So check back through the old YouTube videos as well. I know I've got a lot. Just do searches on the channel. And you'll see Metashape, and you'll see Maps Made Easy, and some Pix4D stuff. So it's all in there as well. Okay, everyone, have a great start to the week, and wish me luck with our shoot today. It should be fun. We'll see you again soon.